fan clubs in Mexico City. And today we have Paul Amann from Cop Outs. So welcome, Paul. We're very glad to have you here.
Thank you so much, Raul. It's great to be here. It's fantastic to be able to come and take part in your show and basically celebrate all things Liverpool and LGBT fandom as well.
Well, it's a very special occasion for us. So I'm gonna open a Liverpool, this Mexican beer from Cervecería Sinestesia. They made this special edition to celebrate the title. So cheers. I'm gonna have one. It's a really nice red ale. So cheers, Paul.
Excellent.
So
cheers, guys.
First of all, cheers. First of all, Paul, well, let's talk about Liverpool, about this year. And well, starting in 2019, it's been an amazing year for the team, for the fans. What a generation. Champions League, World Cup, and now finally Premier League. So what does that mean for the city?
For the city, it is a source of huge pride for the whole of the city, and it is also something which we know will bring a lot of money in terms of visitors, in terms of people spending money on memorabilia, and the focus on the city will be huge because internationally, the city has become even more renowned. We are champions of the world, champions of Europe, we're champions of England. And these things have never been done simultaneously. Jordan Henderson, with that famous Hendo Shuffle, has lifted all 3 trophies. What a captain, what a team.
What a captain. And I remember when Jordan Henderson came, and then when Stevie G gave him the bracelet, the captain, there was lots of criticism. People, the press, fans, we were saying that he was not going to be able to fill in Stevie G's shoes. What do you think about that?
Well, he was on a hiding to nothing to try and fill Stevie G's shoes because Stevie G was a legend for the club. He almost single-handedly delivered many cups and trophies to Liverpool because of his absolute ability to change games. Jordan Henderson is a very different player, but he's definitely a legendary leader. He gets the team to perform to a pattern, to actually deliver on what's wanted. It's arguable that actually in 2014 we would have won had it not been for Jordan Henderson's suspension. It's arguable that he contributes more to the team by his positioning, his passing, his tackling than he does through his goals. He's a genuine leader of the team, and he brings the very, very best out of the people around him, and he marshals them. Hats off to Jordan Henderson. He's a terrific captain and a well-deserved winner of the Football Writers Player of the Year, and I think he's going to win more awards individually and as well for the team.
Yeah, what a captain. And well, as I was telling you, Champions League and World Cup, and of course Champions League is an amazing trophy. It's a very important tournament, probably talking about clubs, the most important in the world. It's always really important and amazing to win Champions League. But you being in the UK and in Liverpool especially, in other parts of the world, like in Mexico, fans were really excited about Champions League, but we get the impression that the fans in Liverpool are more excited about winning the Premier League. What can you tell us about that?
It's got to be Premier League, hands down. The fact that we finally got our hands on the Premier League after 30 years since we last won the league is just incredible. The feeling is finally of vindication of all of our hopes and dreams being realized, because for so long we have been the nearly guys, and for so long other teams that we don't like so much have walked away with that trophy, and that just sucks.
And well, it finally happened. Finally, the Premier League, but it happened during this pandemic. So there was no crowds in the stadium. There was no parade, no celebration, not a proper celebration. So how is the city living this title during the pandemic?
Well, we do it more quietly, but we still do it. So lots of houses, including my own, have had flags and banners draped across the front of them. And even in the moments of, working from home and having to do endless Zoom meetings and video conferences, we change our backgrounds to celebrate lifting the cup. And my goodness, it really upsets people who aren't fans of Liverpool. But hey, what a problem. So yeah,
but
after we won the league, so many people like myself living in the city, we went to our doorsteps, we cheered, we celebrated, we opened a bottle, we said, our congratulations to our neighbors, but most of us didn't then go on to do anything silly, because we followed the advice of our manager and our captain and the team to try and stay safe.
That's good. And it's going to be a title that we will never forget because of the generation, because the way they play, because after 30 years, it finally got home, but also because of the pandemic. We're always going to remember this title. And we see here in Mexico all the pictures of the houses there in Liverpool, but we also get videos of people in Asia, in Africa, in other parts of Europe, making their own little parades, their house parties. I had my own party, just my wife, my daughter, and me celebrating here. But one of the most amazing things about this club are the fans. That's why we have the "You'll Never Walk Alone" here in our chest. It's amazing watching the Copites there in Liverpool, but also the fans all over the place. We have met the fan clubs here in Mexico, in El Salvador, in Guatemala, and we get messages from Asia, from Africa, and they're all amazing. And one of the clubs, the fan clubs that there is worldwide is Copouts. It's an amazing project, an amazing fan club, and you started Copouts, right?
I did. I started Copouts in 2016 because we wanted to make sure that there was a safe space for LGBT plus fans, and to have a fan club that actually includes at its heart the rights of LGBT plus people is absolutely essential. Too often LGBT plus people are facing discrimination and prejudice. So we wanted to make sure that there was a safe space. And one of the amazing things about Liverpool fans is that there's an absolute desire to make sure that Liverpool fans can all attend the game safely. So it was actually very natural for our fellow fans to support the setting up of Copouts and make sure that they were our allies in establishing Copouts. That was absolutely brilliant to have that backing of so many decent fans, because we still, unfortunately, occasionally face some prejudice from some fans, from different parts of the world and from here at home. And we just want to make sure that actually people understand a little more and realize that we have just the same passion as they do as fans for our great club of Liverpool. And Liverpool's motto, our song, our anthem is "You'll Never Walk Alone." And so Copouts is an ability to make sure that actually, as LGBT fans of Liverpool, we will not walk alone. We will have our fellow fans walking in step with us. So you can see on the pictures there, lots of images of pride, of the match, and other instances where Copouts have been there. And to have the support of fellow fans, to have the support of the club, the chief executive, of ambassadors for the club, is really meaningful.
That's amazing. And well, here in You'll Never Walk Alone World, of course, we try to reach fans from all over the world, but we as a team for the fan page, we also never walk alone. And the members of the team is Kimba, which we never see because he's in the technical part, but also Jorge, because I'm pleased that he's here today. He's also usually not on camera, but he's traveling with us. He's helping with all the content of the fan page. But Jorge is also part of the LGBT community here in Mexico City. So we're very happy. He had to be here today, and he has some questions for you, Paul.
Okay, fire away.
Hi, Paul. I'm very glad to be here. Thanks, Raúl. Thanks, Kimba. Thanks, Ciudad Satélite TV. Paul, some Mexican clubs like Liverpool change their colors to join in the celebration of LGBT plus pride. How long has Liverpool been doing it?
So Liverpool was the first club in the world to support Pride. I think it was in 2012 that the club first chose to march alongside LGBT plus people. I marched with them. I helped carry a banner featuring the club's logo and saw so many people respond to that in a most remarkable way, because football reaches places that many other things cannot. It's got that Heineken effect.
Is it the reason you became fan of the club?
No, I've been a fan of the club since I was a child, and I moved here to the city of Liverpool as a student, and then moved here to work 17 years ago. And I started coming to the game regularly from 2003 onwards. So I've always been a fan. I've become a match-going fan since 2003, and I began working with the football club in 2011 to help improve the experience for LGBT plus fans in particular.
Great. How does it make you feel that your team not only tell you, no matter how you are or who you can follow me, it's okay, to tell you it is important to us that you follow us just for who you are?
It's an expression of the spirit of Liverpool. It's an expression of the respect and dignity that Liverpool as a place and as a city and as a club has values that talk about basic human dignity and respect. And those things are universal, as are human rights. And for our club to hold those tenets really close to their heart, it's amazing to have our captain put in his notes in the program in the Rainbow Laces match last November to say that, it doesn't matter to me. It could be a brother, somebody's brother, it could be somebody's son, it could be somebody's father. I don't accept prejudice. And for our captain to say that, for our chief executive to make a video where he spelt out the club's entire commitment to LGBT plus people, these things really do matter, because it helps so many people realize that actually, what are the things that matter? It's our behavior. It's the content of our character that really matters.
Of course. Although we have come a long way in Mexico, we are still taking baby steps in favor of LGBT plus community. We just a few days ago, conversion therapy was declared a crime. Also, it not unanimously, but I think it's an important step. What do you say to the football clubs so that really include the community? I mean, the support with the colors in their logos is fine. We really appreciate that. But how can they, or how can you make them feel part of them as Liverpool has done with you?
I think all football clubs can look at some of the things that Liverpool has done as a club, and now many other clubs are doing across England. So Liverpool were the first to march at Pride. Now nearly all the Premier League clubs in England march at Pride, and so many clubs now have LGBT plus fan groups. And it's those fan groups who work with the clubs to say, what do they want? What do they want to get the club to do to show their solidarity, to show their respect for human rights? And so it's up to us as fans to engage with our clubs and tell them, you know, we're facing barriers, we're facing issues, we face laws that are harmful to us. Can you help us? We are your fans. Can you come and support our journey?
That's great, but I really think that there are some people who may think it's just a strategy, a marketing strategy. Has it been favorable? Perdón, Raúl.
Favorable?
Favorable for the club?
Um,
Do you think that with this action the club gained fans or lost fans? What do you think about that actions?
well, yeah. There's been some surveys in England about what would happen if a club had a gay player. And apparently, 8% of fans would stop supporting their club if a player came out, which was quite sad. But then, as many friends of mine pointed out, Liverpool has so many people who want to go to the game who can't because of the limitations on tickets that we can easily say goodbye to the bigots and welcome in open-hearted, decent fans who want to enjoy the game and also want to respect people as people. So there will be some loss of fans, there might be some commercial loss as a consequence, but equally there will be many other fans who will come back to the club and think, you're a club that is about the values of our city. You are a club that is about the values of the people of our great city. So, yeah, we will support you.
Okay, that's great. We have some comments. Cynthia says, Liverpool is one of those few teams you cannot like and be glad of them at the very least. Then they're asking about transfers. We don't know anything yet. Ari says, this is amazing. All football clubs should look at everything Liverpool has done. Alberto says, great year, great lots of work of club. He arrived in 5 years. We will see results. Oh, that's what he said. Yep. And well,
yep.
What you were talking about, Paul, about answering Jorge's questions, we saw it when we announced that we were having cop-outs. We usually have every day lots of comments, messages from everything we post. But when we announced cop-outs, I don't know how many positive messages we got because I lost track. It was lots of positive, but there was negative comments. But I can tell you, it was 3. I can count them. It was 3 negative comments. That's it. So it's great.
Wow.
It's great. And the positive comments, I lost track. Of course, there are many things, cultural things, the way some people was educated. But I think the world is changing, and Cop-Outs is an amazing project. But also, part of it, it had to be necessary. As in many ways, we are giving, as Jorge said, baby steps, but there are steps anyhow. But the reason why Cop-Outs is necessary is it tells you about that. There's still lots of work that has to be done. So I want you to tell us the importance about having cop-outs. Why not just joining any club and just go to the stadium?
Well, for one, it's really important for every fan to be able to attend the ground safely. Liverpool has a history where our fan safety is recognized as the most important thing. We have a saying that nobody should go to the game and not return. And for LGBT people, for LGBT plus people, too often we live in fear, particularly some of our trans plus people who are not able to go about their lives without fear of harassment, without fear of violence, and sometimes without fear of death. Those things have no place in a Liverpool football fan's heart. So for Liverpool football fans, we want to make sure that actually they understand the dangers faced by LGBT plus people. And we want to make sure that LGBT plus people are able to attend the game safely. And by forming cop-outs, we provided space for LGBT plus fans to come together as fans, to watch the game together, to go to the Anfield together, but also, more importantly, to speak with our fellow fans and to educate them and to help them realize the pressures that we face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that quote you said that nobody should go to the stadium and not come back home. If someone understands that is Liverpool fans, that's why we have the 96 here in the back of the jerseys, and we don't want that number to go up. It was a terrible lesson, but a lesson, and it's amazing that now we have clubs like Cop-Outs, that it's also educating people and also having support of the club. And the Premier League has done an amazing job worldwide. I remember before the creation of the Premier League, fans around the world, what we knew about English football, it was amazing football, fast, great games, but also violent crowds, hooligans, fights, violence. But then they did an amazing job. They created the Premier League. They got rid of the hooligans. And it was an example. It's still an example for leagues around the world. And now we see that projects like Cop-Outs are having the support of clubs like Liverpool. So what I want to ask you now is, since the creation of Cop-Outs, how has it been, the approach to the club, and how has Liverpool Football Club helped Cop-Outs? And just being open, how have they helped you?
Okay, so Cop-Outs was founded in 2016, but after about 5 years of work I have been doing with the club, because I was the LGBT plus representative on the supporters committee. So I had been working with the club for 5 years before we founded Cop-Outs, because there were so many issues that we wanted to make sure that the club would address, from signage in the club to tell fans that homophobia is as unacceptable as racism, to making sure that stewards were trained properly to intervene if there was any issues of homophobic, biphobic, or transphobic behavior, to make sure that any fan that went was going to be welcome. These things all took time. And when we also looked at the fact that whilst Liverpool has a fan base that is worldwide and international, and we have official supporters clubs in nearly every country around the world, over 70 countries around the world have legalized discrimination against LGBT plus people. So the fan clubs in those countries cannot support the rights of LGBT plus people in a legal sense. So I took that to the club and said, look, we need to have a space where we can have a fan club that allows and welcomes people from all over the world who are LGBT plus, because as LGBT plus people, we internationally are not safe, and that isn't right. So can we have Cop-Outs formed? In 2016, they supported our launch. We launched at Liverpool Pride. We had, I went on stage with people and spoke to the crowd. It was really phenomenal. And then the club continued to march, not just with Liverpool Pride, then with Cop-Outs. And that made a lot of news, and we had a lot of support from people who are not LGBT plus, but choose to support LGBT plus rights. So Spirit of Shankly will walk with us. The Anfield Wrap will walk with us. We will have people from the food bank that is linked to both clubs, fans supporting food banks. They will walk with us because actually our Liverpool Pride March is still a protest because our rights are not realised all around the world, and we are committed to trying to champion LGBT plus rights right the way around the world.
Wow. And as I was telling at the beginning of the show, one of the most amazing things about supporting Liverpool is being a fan. It's their fans in Liverpool and worldwide. It's that we never walk alone. But I bet there are lots of people around the world that support Liverpool and that they are part of the LGBT plus community, that they are maybe still hidden, or they don't go out with a fan club, but they can be part of a fan club with you guys, even if they are in Asia, in Africa, in South America, anywhere. So how can they join Cop-Outs?
So it's very simple. Find us on Facebook or on Twitter. Click on the link to sign up to our newsletter, and that's it. There's no cost. You don't have to declare to anybody else. You just send us your details. We'll keep in touch by email. And follow our social media. If you get the chance to come to Liverpool, you'll get the opportunity to meet up with fellow Cop-Out members, march with us at Pride, come to the game. You will always be welcome.
It's a safe place. It's an enjoying place. And can we see your wall, Paul?
So above me, you can see
a
lovely, beautiful signed Liverpool shirt. So I'll bring that closer. There you go. Now that shirt was presented to me by the club when I was, after I finished on the supporters committee, when they wound up the supporters committee and turned it into a set of fan forums, and all of the committee members who had worked with the club were then presented with a shirt. So I'm very, very honored to have received that.
That's nice. So like having a signed shirt, going to the games, meeting people, it's also part of the privileges of being part of a club fan. I've seen that you have some pictures even with King Kenny. So you've met King Kenny?
I've met King Kenny. He's a lovely, lovely guy, very, very passionate for fans to be able to enjoy the game. And I also met a number of other legends over time, and they've always made me welcome, and they've always made it clear that Liverpool as a club is a place for every fan, including LGBT plus fans.
That's amazing. And do you as a club usually go to Anfield, to the games?
I go to the game. I'm not a season ticket holder, so I have to get tickets where I can. I only pay face value, so I will go on a spare, or if I'm lucky, I will be able to buy directly from the club. And I go to pay maybe 12, 14 games this season.
Okay, so that's a question actually for the fans that are watching in other countries. That it's an interesting question, because Premier League has a structure and many things are different than any other league in the world. Like, for example, TV rights. Here in Mexico, each team is owner of the rights, not in Premier League, but also the tickets. Here in Mexico, I can go to the stadium just half an hour before the game and buy my ticket there and just go in. So how does it work?
Wow.
And he's just laughing. How does it work
in
the Premier League?
Okay, so for some clubs who don't have a big fan base, you can do that still. for Liverpool and clubs that are popular with their fans, they have season tickets for guaranteed seating, and that's about maybe half the tickets, I don't know. So they're always bought years in advance. People have started having a season ticket and they renew their season ticket every year. So that's half the seats gone. Liverpool had a season ticket waiting list back in the early 2000s. They closed it because there were 20,000 people waiting to buy a season ticket.
Mm-hmm.
There are now
Wow.
10,000 odd people still waiting to buy a season ticket. So it hasn't decreased that much, even though we've expanded the stadium. We have tickets that are sold. Tickets are sold twice a year in two big sessions of selling tickets. So you have to be a member of the club. So you pay so much a year to have the right to buy tickets. So when you buy those tickets, you have to have paid something to start with anyway, to be able to try and buy a ticket. But then it's pot luck whether or not you're able to buy a ticket, because everybody is scrambling to buy a ticket. So if you're traveling internationally, do not presume that you can come to Liverpool, walk up to Anfield and buy a ticket at the stadium. There are ticket touts who will try and take your money to sell you a ticket. There is no guarantee that that ticket will be a real legal ticket. And there are countless situations of people who pay 3, 4, 5 times more than a ticket is worth for a ticket that is worthless. So you can nearly always buy hospitality tickets, but hospitality tickets cost maybe 4 or 5 times the normal ticket price. So you might pay £200 for a hospitality ticket, and normally it might be between £40 and £59 for a match ticket.
Wow.
So it's not a cheap business.
Nope. So people that are chanting "You'll never walk alone" in Anfield are really privileged to be there.
They are very privileged.
We have some.
The club have got. Go on. More questions?
No. Yeah. No. We have comments, but finish with that so we can read them.
Yeah, I mean, the club have listened to the supporters locally, and there is a small allocation of local tickets that are sold at shorter notice for just £9, but there's only a very few hundred of those each time, and the competition for those is very intense.
Wow, I bet. But we have some more comments. Ari says, "I must admit, I'm not a Liverpool fan, as I follow another team. But the more I learn about Liverpool, the more they get my heart. Not only for the way they play, it's an amazing team." Then we have Peter Gaskell. "Amazing story behind the formation of Cop-Outs. The global element of the mission is inspirational." Cynthia, "We are Liverpool. This means more." So true. And then Victor, he's from Mexico, obviously. He says, "Come on, you're talking about the Premier League, not about Club America, which is a Mexican team, match." I guess he was talking about just going there and buying the tickets. Paul, but you were telling us that Cop-Outs usually goes to the Pride, the parade in Liverpool, representing Cop-Outs. This year, what happened with the Pride because of the pandemic?
Well, Pride as a physical, real element was cancelled. We could not think to put on our march. And I always use the term march, and we use the term march in Liverpool because a parade is just a celebration. A march is a political act. So we march at Liverpool Pride when we can. So this year we held a virtual online march because we wanted to still show the world that we really were passionate about LGBT plus rights, and that we're passionate about Liverpool, but we also wanted to stay safe, and we wanted our fellow fans and fellow LGBT plus community people and allies to stay safe. So we marched at home, we took videos, we showcased those.
Wow, that's interesting. We have been having to adapt to everything, but it has not all been bad. I mean, live streams like this one starting to get bigger, and that's why one of the reasons why right now Jorge's in Mexico City, I am in the state of Mexico, you are in Liverpool, and we're able to have this show and show people all around the world about our passion for Liverpool, but also about cop-outs. So not everything has been bad. Hopefully, we'll be able to go back to the stadiums. I'll be able to go to Liverpool and meet you and see Anfield live, and at least go to the museum there and see the Shankly statue. But we have been having to adapt to everything. And
it'll be fantastic.
Another thing,
and at Cop-Out, we welcome all fans.
Mm-hmm. That's great. And about these because all the fans we saw on the internet about the rainbow laces. What is this program, this Rainbow Laces?
Okay, so the Rainbow Laces campaign was launched a few years ago now with basically the simple idea that players should wear rainbow laces and show their solidarity with LGBT plus people and say no to hate, no to homophobia, no to biphobia, no to transphobia. Funnily enough, of course, modern football boots very often do not take ordinary laces. So they got rid of the actual laces for the players, and the captains of every team instead wore a rainbow armband. And that armband, being in rainbow, was worn by Jordan Henderson, James Milner has worn it, Virgil van Dijk has worn it, because they've captained those matches on rainbow laces matches. At the Rainbow Laces matches, most clubs now try and involve their LGBT plus supporters group, and I was very honoured to be able to walk onto the pitch ahead of the game, be interviewed, have that interview shared with the whole of Anfield, and to exchange pennants or little flags with my opposite number from the team we were playing, which in this instance last year was Everton. So
wow,
their LGBT plus group was the Rainbow Toffees, and I exchanged flags with the Rainbow Toffees. Then later, a week or so later, I travelled down to Bournemouth at the invitation of Bournemouth Club and their fan group, the Proud Cherries, and I exchanged pennants with them as well. So I got to go to 2 great games, but also to get onto the pitch on both times, which was absolutely amazing. Of course, legally, I'm not allowed to step onto the pitch, so you have to be very careful on the pitch side in England.
Oh wow! Oh, here in Mexico, there's so many people at the end of the game on the pitch that you're like, who is there? Their families, friends, the friend of the friend, and everything is everyone is just there on the pitch. But it's very different in the Premier League. And what an amazing experience and an amazing message of that moment. Cup-outs and the Rainbow Toffees sharing banners there. That's a strong message because, of course, they are rivals, but they are not enemies. This is a beautiful game, the most beautiful game in the planet. And football should be about love. They are our rivals, but we don't hate them. There should never be aggression. And yes, when we are competing, we want to win. They want to win. But in the end, it should all be about love. This game brings people together. It doesn't matter where are you from, what language you speak. When you are standing in the stadium chanting or on the pitch kicking that ball, we all become one, as it should, as humanity should be. I think it's one of the, or probably the only sport that can totally do that, football. So what an amazing moment, that exchange with the rainbow toffees. And before the last questions, I don't know if Jorge has another question for you.
No, I'm very excited. I'm very appreciate all the things we said. Nada más decirle que pasión y entrega nos sobra a la comunidad, así que obviamente todos los clubes necesitan a una comunidad que se sienta agregada y se sienta incluida, y nada, que ojalá esto que pasa en Liverpool pase en todos lados y aquí en México.
Well, Jorge is telling me that the community has a lot of passion, and that it's amazing that there's something like cup-outs, and that the clubs are making you part of them, and that he hopes that that happens someday here in Mexico, so they can feel part of the clubs, so that they can go and feel safe in the stadiums. And well, he even forgot about how to speak English. He's really happy about this moment and about everything you're talking.
Jorge, Raul, you have already taken the first steps. You are being visible, you are working with an ally, and you are communicating the importance of being able to be your authentic self in the world of football. And actually, the next step is to build that and get more people involved and more people to take part and engage with the discussions and make sure that they realize the primacy of being able to be safe and enjoy the game.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. And well, Paul, now talking about as a Liverpool fan, you said you support Liverpool since you were a child. In these years, what's the most amazing thing that you have gotten from being a Liverpool fan?
Friendship. Friendship is the most amazing thing. The fact that as a Liverpool fan, I can walk into anywhere in Liverpool or even go on holiday and meet other Liverpool fans and have the opportunity to share the same passion for the game, to be able to talk with people about that game when, Mo Salah scored that incredible goal, when Virgil van Dijk did this, to talk about these issues in a way that only we as crazy Liverpool fans can do. And it's that friendship that binds us, that passion that binds us as fans it's incredible. And, the fact that you can then go on to talk about loads of other issues about Liverpool Football Club, and whether it's about the importance of making sure that people who live nearby, who are poor, can get food. If it's the importance of supporting somebody who's having to take strike from work, we want to talk about that. Whether it's the importance of making sure that our fellow fans respect the neighbourhood of Anfield where people live, we will talk about that. And it's realising that football is a starting point of conversation, and it's that friendship that comes with it. It's amazing.
Totally. And we have experienced that. We've had the fortune, because of being Liverpool fans, to meet people like you, that you are in Liverpool, to meet people in El Salvador, in Guatemala, here in Mexico, that we have something in common, and it's how we start the conversation, and from there, friendship starts. So it's amazing. And when I became a Liverpool fan, as I was telling you, I've always loved football, and I've always loved the Premier League. When I was young, a kid, I was not really a Liverpool fan, but I have always been a Beatles fan. So when they said, what team do you like from England? Well, I guess Liverpool, because the Beatles are from Liverpool, but that was it. But then 2005 happened, that final in Istanbul. And I was in Canada, actually. I was in Vancouver, and I was watching it there, and the team was losing 3-0 with the biggest team at the moment, the toughest team at the moment, which was AC Milan, and it looked impossible. And then the crowd started chanting that "You'll never walk alone."
Sorry, I really love the face when every Liverpool fan hear about this game.
Yes, yes. It was that miracle of Istanbul. It was unbelievable. But I'm there in a pub in Vancouver.
I was in a pub in
I-
downtown Liverpool. It was
Well,
incredible.
I was in Vancouver, and then it looked impossible. And when I heard that, and this for the second half of the "You'll Never Walk Alone," I got shivers. And then when I saw next what the players did, that was it. That was it. I was like, this is the team for me. Because of what it means, because of the fans, because of this chant. And ever since I became, of course, every year more, but a Liverpool fan. And nowadays it's really nice and joyful to be a Liverpool fan, because we are champions of Europe, of the world, and now of England. So it's an amazing time. But it's been, before that, it was tough times. Everybody was making fun of us. The titles were always close, but they were not coming. But still, we were there together. We were not walking alone. And most of the Liverpool fans around the world, and even in the UK, have never heard the "You Never Walk Alone" in Anfield. So can you describe as the first time you heard "You'll Never Walk Alone" in Anfield?
Well, this was at a Champions League match or European match. I can't remember if it was Champions League or not, versus, I think, Marseille in 2003. And first time at Anfield, I was in the Kop, and it started. And everybody was standing up, holding their flags high, and singing so passionately. And I'd never experienced that. And it's a kind of crazy euphoria. You feel it in your heart, and this noise, it's just incredible. And the passion of people around you who are singing, who are enjoying it, is just remarkable. But the best time I've ever heard it sung was the one time I was late coming into the ground. And the approaches to Anfield ahead of the game are absolutely full of people. But once the game is about to kick off, the streets become deserted. And one evening, I was rushing to get to Anfield. I had been working late. I was maybe arriving 5 minutes after the game was due to start or something. But as I was walking up, I could hear the crowd singing in the empty streets of Anfield. So the stadium noise was spilling out into the streets around it with "You'll Never Walk Alone." And that raised the hairs on the back of my neck. It was amazing.
Wow, that's unbelievable. But well, Paul, thank you a lot for being here, and thank you a lot for creating Cop Outs. It's amazing. I know it's gonna keep growing, and it's gonna this message is gonna get to lots of people. This is something that's gonna happen globally. I have no doubt about it. And thank you a lot for being here. I'm looking forward to meeting you live when we go to Liverpool. And thank you a lot.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you, Paul.
Jorge,
I'm very
thank you so
touching.
much.
Really, I'm very touching. So I just wanna say thank you. That's it, and keep in touch.
I will. And guys, thank you so much for the opportunity to speak with you, to hear the passion that you guys have in Mexico and all around the world. I wish all of the followers of your page the very, very best. We are the champions. Feel like champions, because we are.
Yeah.
Yes, we are. And well, thanks, Paul. Thanks, Kimba. Thanks, Jorge. Thank you to all the people that were following. And remember always, when you support Liverpool, you will never walk alone. Thank you. See you next time.